As we come to the close of July, we still have nearly 2,000 games on sale right now over at the Switch eShop, and it's been a massive month for discounts, and it seems things they're not slowing down. Now, it's not a bad problem to have, honestly, but I'm not sure my bank account can handle it at this point. Today, though, I have 15 games for you all coming in under $10, or your local currency, covering the US, Canada, UK, EU, and Australia. Welcome to SwitchCorner, my name's Alex, and if you enjoy the video, consider subscribing and liking it helps me out a huge amount. I also have a winner to announce them for a $10 eShop gift card later in the video and one more to give away. To enter, drop a comment down below and that winner they'll be announced in next Thursday's video. Then today we're going to be starting with the Artful Escape. This one comes from Annapurna. I'm a big fan of their games, and in fact I did a top 10 video of their releases as well as a dedicated review for this game, so I'm going to be pinning those down below. Now this one, the gameplay, it's a psychedelic platformer that follows a young man who feels pressured to follow in his uncle's musical footsteps, and that is to perform folk music. It is revealed quickly, however, that is not for him, and what follows is a Bill and Ted inspired adventure to find your sound across the universe. It's a fun story, the cast is definitely eccentric, and sure, like, it struggles occasionally with the frame rate, but I had an absolute blast, and it's 50% off. That is a price we've only seen once before. Lone Ruin, and transparently, wasn't a massive fan of this release, as you'll see in my review in the pinned comment, but I think this price point, 50% off and new at low, makes it a whole lot easier to forgive the shortcomings where I did call the game average. Now, it's a spell-based roguelike twin-stick shooter, and we play as an explorer seeking ancient powers. Now, that story, unfortunately, it is an afterthought, but the controls are decent, it is fast-paced, but I did find the power-ups to be lacking, and the experience generally it was short. I also faced a few visual glitches and crashes back at launch, but my understanding is these have since been patched. Oceanhorn, a monster of Uncharted seas, will be for all of the Sauder fans out there. Here we set out on a quest to find the location of our missing father, and what follows is an old school Sauder-like experience with simple exploration, combat, and puzzles. Yes, you will see sailing sequences in the trailer, but this is not Wind Waker with freedom of movement. Instead, you'll get weapons to leverage on the journey. I thought the sequel, where they went for something like Breath of the Wild, was weak, but this was a solid release on the system, and it comes recommended from me. This came to mind for me as well this week because I did a 21 Sauder-likes video featuring other creators, including SwitchUp, Gaming, and Hallowed Be Thy Game, amongst many others, so I'll be linking that in the pinned comment. 75% off here then matches the low price. If you do decide to grab anything from this sale, then consider using cornershop.gg for discounted eShop credit. You'll receive 5% off using code CORNER at checkout, and they are instant delivery via email. Warsaw will be a good option for fans of games like Darkest Dungeon. Now, naturally, it is not as good, but it is a respectable attempt, and I personally really enjoyed it. Now, here we fight as part of the resistance during the war, and it combines turn-based combat, map exploration, base building, and squad management. The overall goal here is to push back enemy forces and simply try to survive. What I like is you may choose a location to battle it out at, but at the same time, their enemy forces, they will be closing in from other directions, so you really have to be strategic. It's difficult too, it features permadeath that takes center stage, and admittedly a few enemies honestly feel a little unfair at times, but overall I enjoyed it. It's got a heavy story, and it's a new low price and 90% off, and I think that is a steal. Mundaun is perhaps the most unique game on today's list, and it's matching the low price of 50% off. Now this is going to appeal to those that enjoy a mystery experience but don't mind a horror undertone to it all. Now in the story, we learn of our grandfather's mysterious death, so we travel to his home to learn more. Now soon, however, we uncover that something is haunting the locals, and we will be on a quest to understand what is occurring. It's first person, and it features a few puzzles and a dash of survival too, but I think this game is incredible. I also love the visual style and that grayscale that was implemented. The only issue in some of the larger areas, the visual downgrade on the Switch, can make things, I guess, a little awkward. I do think that is minor though, as I can't name another game on the Switch quite like it. Last Stop is another unique game, and you can find my review in the pinned comment. It's a narrative-based sci-fi adventure game that tells the story of 3 different characters. One of them is a body swap story, the other is a mysterious alien being, Then there's one of a woman who works for a secretive organisation that also faces some personal challenges as well. That is my personal favourite. It almost feels like an FMV at times, so obviously it's not video footage here being used, and we also get a bit more freedom where we control a movement, but just know it won't be for everyone as it is really just focused on that narrative. I liked it though because it almost gave me those kind of, I guess, Doctor Who vibes. Minoria then is a spiritual sequel to Momodora, and while I don't think it's as good personally, it is still worth the time. It is currently 60% off, which matches the low, and I think that is more than fair. And Momodora is also on sale if you do want to check that out as well. This one though, a Metroidvania experience, and first I love the visual style, though I'm not sure it's going to be for everyone. And then it's accompanied by a solid control scheme, and I really do just love this world. The story, we are sisters from the church out to put a stop to a witch's ceremony, which could spell trouble for the common folk of this world. There are a few areas as a warning where you'll notice some frame rate drops, but it's far from frequent, and I do think genre fans should absolutely give this one a shot. One Piece Unlimited World Red Deluxe Edition gets a new low for those in the UK, EU and Australia with 90% off. Now we've seen this price before in the US and Canada, but I had to give it a shout out. I featured this in a video recently on the channel as well. That was 30 must play anime games, so I'll be linking that down below. Really enjoyed putting that one together. But this entry, it's a beat 'em up game, and if I had to describe it, I think almost Warriors, but never quite as over the top. Now in the story, we spot land, we go ahead and investigate, and now the crew are missing and we must get them back together. I think it runs and looks good on the Switch, and I do think this is a steal of a price, as it's a pretty big adventure as well. I'd say around 10 hours for the main story, 20 plus though if you do decide to take on some of that extra content. Darkwood is a hidden gem, and I feel like I haven't seen it in a while, so it's getting a shout out today with 60% off. That matches the low price. It's a top-down survival horror experience, and I went in thinking that perspective can't really deliver a scary game. You know, it's not in your face enough, but I was so wrong. Now the idea here is that we need to escape this location, but pushing forward through this world is just incredibly satisfying. They rely on this world to deliver a constant sense of dread, and in that way it absolutely succeeds. If you are concerned as well, there are no jump scares in here, and the loop really is gather resources and craft it during the day, and then simply try to survive at night. Come here to uncover the secrets of this world, and while I didn't review this game, I did feature it on my 50 horror games for the Switch list, which you can find in the pinned comments. Astalon Tears of the Earth then was a game I was supposed to review a couple of years back, and I do regret missing it, as this is a quality action platformer that is, as you can see, retro in style. And now our mission here is to get through a tower to save our village, but it features 3 playable characters and they each possess unique skill sets, and I really like that. It's more than just a simple skin swap, and we need to actually leverage these abilities to proceed through the game. There's quite a bit of depth to this one, so do check out a full review first. It can be quite tough as well, just as a warning, but it's back matching the low price of 50% off, and this one is again well worth your time. Artful is a bit of a hidden gem in my opinion, so RPG fans, you should consider this one. It's been a long time since I've spoken about it or even played it, but it's also retro styled, and you find yourselves in a floating world that is at risk of falling from the sky. Now it's down to you to figure out what is happening and who is behind it. Before you know it, there are vampires and all sorts, and you'll need to get a group together to save the day. It's definitely a weird little story, but I really enjoyed the simplistic gameplay that accompanies it. Wouldn't come here for a challenging game personally, it's one of the easier genre entries on the system, but it is fun, and I'm a fan of the visual design and music as well. 70% off then, matching the low price. Worldend Syndrome then will be for those that want a horror-esque visual novel, and now as a warning, it is rated M, so not for the younger household members, and this one it comes from Arc System Works. Now in the story, we move to a seaside town, we meet 5 mysterious girls, and we begin to notice disturbances around town, and now it's time to go and investigate. The decisions you make, they will impact the outcome of the investigations, and that in turn will change the world around you. It's really good stuff, this one. It is well worth this new low price of 75% off. Last week then I featured 2 games that I said I would circle back on, so I wanted to touch on them quickly today. So first of all, Slice Dice and Rice got a massive discount. It's from Arc System Works, yet I had never heard of it. Basically, it's a 1v1 fighter where the first strike to land wins the battle. And now the controls are good, parrying definitely makes things exciting, and the character selection and the visual style I also really liked. My only warning, not a huge amount of content here. Arcade mode and local play will really be your only options, as it's not surprising to see, but I couldn't find anyone online. Then Punch a Bunch, and this has been fun, but it's also incredibly frustrating by design. So the idea here is it's a boxing game where the controls never change, you simply need to master them, and you'll be facing some incredibly creative opponents. The problem is it's also short-lived. I was done with the 3 championships in around 3 hours, and that included me failing a huge amount of times. I'd still give it a recommendation, as it's definitely fun, but it's going to be for those willing to invest time in mastering a different control scheme. It's unique as well in that sense. You throw punches with the right stick by inputting the motion directly. Our winner of the week then is going to Kill Repeat, who had never heard of the Arc System Works featured last week, and as I said I'd never heard of Slice Dice myself. Congrats so Kill, drop me an email to claim your code, and everyone else drop a comment down below for your chance in next week's video. Book Fables then is the Paper Mario game we all wanted, a throwback classic. It just doesn't feature our favourite plumber. An RPG adventure, we embark on this adventure across the kingdom seeking riches and immortality. Love the world, it really will surprise you with some of the events packed in as well. And then gameplay wise, it's got turn-based combat, exploration, puzzles, minigames, even some platforming. Since launch then as well, they've also expanded the game with free DLC, which includes new quests as well as new mechanics. 70% off then matches the low price, and we've only seen this price a few times before. PAC-MAN Championship Edition 2+ really needs very little introduction. It's the same classic gameplay for the most part, with this stunning, modernized neon visual style. They do, however, get creative as well with the use of 3D throughout, and also the maze layouts are personally some of my favorites. It also features a 2-player co-op mode where you can not only work together, but also come to each other's rescue. Alongside that then, expect to find the time attack options and adventure mode, some bosses, even adjustments to the rules. Been a while since I picked it up myself, but just talking about it makes me want to jump in again. It's really good stuff, and it's 75% off, which is a new low price. Namco Museum then is our final game of the video. It's 80% off, and this also includes Pac-Man, but this is going to be the original build, and it's also alongside 9 other games. It includes Dig Dug, Galaga 88, The Tower of Druaga, Sky Kid, Rolling Force and Rolling Force 2, Splatterhouse, and then finally Tank Force. My personal favourites were the Rolling Force games, as I'd never played them before, as well as Splatterhouse, which I do think is an actual classic. If you like your retro games, this is going to be well worth a look, and this discount, it's absolutely massive. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see it again for some time. And that is the video down. Will you be adding anything to the library? Let me know in the comments. With that then, a shout out to the patrons and the channel members who are going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. It helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. Then hit subscribe, join us here for reviews, deals, news and lists daily, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.